like to call on stage Mr. Mohan Savarkar, VP and Chief Product Officer, Tata Motors Passenger Vehicle. Mr. Mohan Savarkar, sir, if you can hear me. Right. So we will have him shortly here with us on the stage. Mr. Mohan Savarkar, VP and Chief Product Officer, Tata Motors Passenger Vehicle. Next on stage, I'd like to call Mr. Munish Dayal, Senior President, SK Finance Limited. Thank you, gentlemen, and we welcome you. I'd like to call on stage Mr. Sumit Bali, Country Head, Retail Assets and Debt Management, Yes Bank, as our fourth speaker for this panel. Next, Mr. Rajinder Singh Sachdeva, Deputy Chief Executive Officer and Chief Transformation Officer, VE Commercial Vehicles Limited. Sir, please join us on the stage. Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Ranjivjit Singh, Chief Business Officer, Hero MotoCorp. Mr. Singh? He might have just stepped out. We will wait for him to join us, but at the same time, let me introduce to you other panelists. Mr. Tushar, Dhimar, Head, Retail Lines Underwriting, SBI General Insurance. Mr. Ranjivjit Singh. Sir, please join us on the stage. Mr. Tushar, Dhimar. Welcome, sir. And we have Mr. Ashish Pande, Chairperson, FADA, MP and Director, OM Auto and Sons, as our final panelists for this discussion. To moderate this session, let me please invite on stage Mr. Hormazd Sorabjee, Editor, Autocar, India. Mr. Sorabjee, I think you'll have to take the seat at the center. Gentlemen, if you could refer to the nameplates which are mentioned right next to the seat. Is there any confusion, sir? I think Mr. Sorabjee can take the seat at the corner and we can have the panelists sitting in one row. Yeah. Are we good, Mr. Sorabjee? Can we start? Right, I'll hand over the mic to you, sir, for this anchor panel one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for a little bit of delay. It's quite a big panel, so just managing it logistically was just getting everyone in place. So I think today's topic, obviously, something that's very core to all of us. I think it's on road safety, a topic that is a burning topic, actually, just given the number of fatalities we have, the number of accidents we have. We have the kind of, let's say, infamous record of having the highest number of road deaths in the world. It's a number that isn't really reducing much at all, despite technology getting better, safety getting better, but I think the roads getting better as well. But I think the combination of the explosion in motorized vehicles as well as, let's say, more licenses being given out, clearly it's overwhelming the kind of basics of road safety that needs to be there. And I think clearly what we'd like to discuss today is a very holistic view of road safety, because while we talk about accidents, I'm of the firm belief that the best accident is one that doesn't happen at all. And prevention of that has to be possibly the root cause of improving road safety, which starts with driver and rider training. I mean, what I'd like to do is maybe start off with the two-wheeler manufacturers, because I think two-wheelers clearly account for a large proportion of road accidents, just given the size of the two-wheeler vehicles on the road. And I think really it's something which we found that there hasn't been really improvement in that. So Diego, if I can start with you, and of course Ranjivjit, both of you all, but with Diego first. Let's just talk on the two-wheeler front. I think something basics like helmets, which are just not being worn, not being enforced. Do you think it's basically a very fundamental issue of a state of mind? People just do not give that sort of importance to, let's say, safety on two-wheelers as they should.
Well, good afternoon to everybody, and thanks for FADA for inviting me again to this annual convention. Okay, but of course, when we talk about road accidents, we know that actually two-wheeler in general is one of the high contributing segment in terms of road accident and road fatalities based on statistics, more than 44% of the total road accidents that are happening in India. That means that is particularly on two-wheeler due also to, the fact that the driver is actually unprotected against, let me say, anything that can hit on you. For sure, we have to act on three fronts. One front definitely is in terms of discipline of the driver. That for sure helmets can be, as per experience done in other countries out of India, definitely is very much helping in preventing road fatalities. But not only that, also helmet definitely is one element, but the other elements definitely are related to road discipline and discipline in terms of driving on the road. That is really fundamental. We know that usually two-wheeler drivers tend to be a little bit, undisciplined on the road. The second element definitely contributing is the introduction of safety contents and features on the vehicle. That is responsibility of the manufacturers. So we have seen a big evolution in the last 5 years from this point of view, in the sense that first an anti-lock braking system, ABS, CBS, made mandatory on all scooters and motorbikes in India definitely has been a very big improvement. But not only that, let me say also limiting, the speed in vehicle definitely can also helping in preventing road accident. For example, I think that high-speed EV scooter definitely is not something favorable respect to road safety. Other countries prefer to have EV vehicle, EV two-wheeler that have cap in terms of high speed at 45 kilometers per hour. For example, that in most of Indian urban environment is more than enough. So why have a scooter that is speeding at 100, 110 kilometers per hour? I don't think that is required. And last but not least, obviously, is infrastructure. So safety of roads, good maintenance of road, definitely is another key element. And one possible suggestion could be to introduce specific lane dedicated for two-wheeler and three-wheeler. So in order to maintain, let me say, the traffic a little bit more separated. I think these three elements definitely can help preventing road fatalities and road accident, but for sure the priority is on discipline coming from the driver.
Thanks, Diego. You talked about discipline coming from the driver. Clearly, I think all of us say that it's more easily said than done, because really to imbibe this culture might even take generations. But, given the fact that there is so much indiscipline, we can't change that overnight. I'm just sticking with you right now. You talked about speed. Now, some of your bikes are very, very quick. At the same time, you've suggested a cap which is interesting, a cap on speeds for, let's say, two-wheelers like scooters. Do you think we need to have, let's say, speed, restrictions, limiters on two-wheelers?
But of course, it can help. You know that motorbikes are definitely used in multiple ways. Can be used on roads, can be used also on tracks. So high-speed bikes are more meant to be used on not road environment, are more inclined to be used on tracks and whatever. Scooter definitely an utilization that are only limited to urban roads. So in that case, I think speed limitation could be really helping in preventing road accidents, because since you also said that discipline on driver cannot be enforced. And so you have to get the same result in some other way.
Right. No, I think it's quite clear that it's, it's going to take a long time to enforce the discipline. As I said, it's going to take a generational change. I think it has to perhaps start with, teaching at even the school level, basic elementary, let's say, rules of road safety before we even start seeing a change. So I think we have to accept that everyone's going to be driving badly, continue to be driving the way they are, and what can we do in that sort of situation. So, Ranjivjit, I'd just like to, turn to you. You've got, I think, the maximum number of two-wheelers out there. And you've heard what Diego said. I mean, his one view is on certain forms of two-wheelers have a cap, obviously, on motorcycles. They're designed for higher speeds. But my point also is, speed, again, there's a direct correlation between speed and the number of road accidents, because it's all about reaction time at the end of the day. So whatever vehicle you're driving. So, just wanted to get your thoughts, given the scenario, given the kind of real difficult scenario that there is, how, especially from the two-wheelers, what should be done right now? I mean, I think we've realized that, enforcing people to drive correctly is going to be difficult. So can there be something done on the product side, where you can just enhance the level of safety or slow them down so that there's a lower occurrence of accidents?
Good morning, everyone. I imagine this is an important topic, but it seems like an empty hall. And a hall that's buzzing with a lot of conversations. So I think let's have a serious discussion around this. Is that okay? Yeah? So can we get the FADA people to bring in the audience, and let's have a conversation around this, because this is, India is the world's largest two-wheeler market. Unfortunately, the number of accidents and fatalities are also the highest, and that's not a good thing. And I really welcome the opportunity for all of us to get together here to have this conversation. But if everyone is on their phones and having side conversations, then it's a little disappointing. Is that okay? Perfect. So, look, Hormazd just said, what are the reasons for this? Why is it happening? We know that when we manufacture products, we put in a lot of thought, a lot of science, a lot of engineering, a lot of user behavior, and then create these products. Today, our products have almost everything built in, which is aiding safety. Things like the lighting, where there's illumination, the DRLs, we've got panic alerts, we've got the braking systems, best in the world. We've got topple alerts, we've got even speed alerts, almost, we've got speed alerts also put into our premium products. From a product design perspective, I can assure you, we are amongst the best in the world. And this comes from a culture of creating zero accidents in our factories, in our supply chains, because it does not happen only at the front line. It comes through a culture of creating safe products through the line. When we do that, we also analyze, then why are these accidents taking place? A lot of that, as the data suggests, is coming because of people not using helmets. How do we enforce that? How do we create that? Now, in the cities, when I drive around, I do see a lot of people wearing helmets. When you go further down, then people take chances and people take risks. What can we do to get more and more people, including their children, to wear helmets? Drunk driving is another thing. Coming onto the wrong lane. These are the causes that have been analyzed as reasons for this kind of accidents and fatalities. And therefore, it's a big responsibility because, as Hormazd said, the numbers are not really going down. While the number of two-wheelers are increasing, when we don't see that coming down, we can feel reassured that the percentages are coming down, but that's not the right way to look at it. And so there's a big responsibility we have. We have the Ride Safe India training. We have 6 training parks. We train people how to ride, how to mount, dismount. We have side stand indicators. We have a lot of training that's going into telling people how to ride defensively rather than aggressively. And this is something that really moves the nation, these 2 wheels. And so it's such an important topic, which is why I wanted, your attention on this, because it is not one party that can solve this issue. This is something that we really have to, as an industry, collaborate and work it out together. And I'm going to rest my comments for now, Hormazd, because this is something that I want you to take further in your moderation as to what can industry do as well to improve the situation that currently exists.
No, thanks very much for that, Ranjivjit. I think, good, strong statements there. But before I turn to the other panelists, it must be very frustrating, despite, as we know, technology is there. A lot of active safety now in bikes and cars, to try and prevent accidents as much as possible. You've got good braking systems, speed alerts, as you say. But I think it's all boiling down to really, training, awareness. But, before we even get into that, I just want to talk about we as a people. Fundamentally, whether we are prefer to cross railway tracks, then take an overbridge, things like that. I think safety in our DNA somehow is just not given the value and importance it has. Do you think that really is at the core of the issue and the fact that it will take a lot to kind of change this mindset?
You're absolutely right. There is this thing that things will be okay, things will be better, let me take the chance, it's fine, I'm just going from here to there. And yet we see so many incidents of actually accidents and fatalities taking place because it doesn't come by appointment. It happens. There is always something to do with luck, chance, destiny, but also I'm sure it's controllable. And that's where we'd like to take this conversation. How can we educate the person who's coming into our dealership and then say, we wish you a very safe journey. And here is a set of tips that you should follow. And I hope you're committing to these. And then when they come for their service, making sure that the maintenance is done so that the mechanical parts of the two-wheeler are also taken care of so that there is no failure, at least on the part of the vehicle. So those kind of things, plus the adoption of safe riding techniques and defensive techniques comes from, again, a high level of awareness and conscious living, conscious thinking that can help this. So I think there's a lot of, that there is a risk associated, but look, it's not insurmountable. I think bringing that into our culture is very, very important.
Thank you. Mr. Pande, I'd like to turn to you because clearly, the whole topic of awareness, as a dealer body, FADA, what can be done at let's say the dealer level, because at the network level, in terms of, just creating this sort of awareness and, just drilling into the fact that, we aren't really quite immortal as people think we are.
Yes, good afternoon. India, we know, has the highest population. So are the ever-increasing number of vehicles on the road. Last year, as you rightly mentioned, number of accidents are maximum in India. In fact, India happens to be accident capital of the world. Last year itself, 1.8 lakh lives were lost. That tantamounts to 19 lives an hour. So, it's a serious issue. It needs to be addressed on war footing. Like you rightly mentioned, one of the panelists rightly mentioned. And it was more than the lives lost in the epidemic which we had a few years back. So it is incumbent upon us, as dealers and business partners for OEMs to pay attention to it in a very focused manner. So how do we educate people? Now, what we feel is that we should focus on minds which are impressionable, and we can, inculcate excellent traffic awareness and, driving habits in them. So we go to schools and colleges, as dealers, and we educate them age-wise. Say for age group 5 to 8, we counsel them how to cross the road, the importance of walking on the pavement, not on the road itself, and the importance of the traffic lights. Then, when we move to the age group of 9 to 16, which happens to be middle school, we educate them on being responsible. Then when we speak to students who are 16 and above, say they are in the high school or colleges or executives, we open up a whole Pandora box of safety driving and traffic awareness. Like not driving on the wrong side of the road, not jumping the traffic light, wearing a helmet, wearing a seat belt, not driving drunk, not speaking on mobile while you're driving. And most importantly, emotive issues. Like if you have had an altercation with your boss or your wife, or most importantly, your girlfriend, your mind is under stress. So, right after that, if you start, driving the vehicle or take to wheels, your mind is not focused on the road. You may end up in a road rage or an accident. So, apart from that, we also aligned, with the traffic police. And we conduct various activities, in our towns, carrying out a rally with people holding placards of, traffic slogans like helmets and seat belts, etc. Then putting up human hoardings, at traffic intersections, at peak hours. Recently, we carried out an innovative activity of slow vehicle driving, in which, 85 girls participated. And because of the participation of girls in that activity, the audience was huge. And the catch was, whichever vehicle reaches late is the winner. The only thing is that vehicle should not stop and stall. And all this while, people were holding, holding placards, and human hoardings were there, and the announcements were being made. So Firstly, we should, educate the impressionable minds. Secondly, we should track, spread the awareness, amongst everyone who drives the vehicle or who matters.
Well, that's very interesting. I think, as you rightly said, I'm sure these sort of activities do have an impact. My only point is, we are a big country, 1.3 billion people. Really to do this at scale is, I think, always going to be the challenge, which I think somehow that needs to be addressed in some form or the other. But I think, until then, making the vehicles also as safe as possible. I think making them your safety cocoon, I think that is absolutely key. And I think one company that's really taken this as a mantra, as a mission, has been Tata Motors. I think all your cars are 5-star rated, Mohan. So just turning to you, but at the same time, you can have a very safe car, your own little safety cocoon, but there are other road users. It could be that the car is involved in an accident and the other vehicle it's involved with may not be as safe. Those occupants may not be as fortunate. So it's quite a complex issue, as we know. We know that. And, car with a 5-star rating, 6 airbags, which has been, sort of not mandated, but everyone is giving right now. Is that enough? Clearly not. But, what more can be done even as, let's say, one of the leading 4-wheeler OEMs?
So, thank you, Hormazd, and hope I'm audible. And, happy to be here. Very many familiar faces who are our business partners also. And all the people that are here who have been interacting with us would know the kind of seriousness that we put on safety. And the things that are happening in our company also to make sure that automobiles become safer and safer. But Hormazd, like you asked, is it enough? So, well, no. But this is a journey on which, let us say, even the GNCAP and BNCAP are evolving and learning continuously. So the kind of learning that takes place is based on analysis of actual accidents that happen on the road. And based on that, then people try to decide what is it that the car should be doing to make sure that people in the car and the vulnerable road users are more and more protected. So first of all, we'd like to make sure that the vulnerable road users are protected. And to that end, there will be something surprising for you to know that you'll see several, footages of someone pressing a car and then demonstrating that the panel is going inside or the bumper is going inside or the hood is not strong enough. Well, it's meant to be that way. If it is not that way, then the person who is having an accident against the car will get injured much more. There is something that we need to do to make sure that people's legs are protected in case of an accident or their heads are protected and several other things that need to happen. So the safety in the car also gets built up at various levels. So first of all, let's say if you're at low speed, there's something called 360-degree view that lets you know what's around your car, and then you can maneuver yourself very well inside or outside a tight spot. You have a cross traffic alert to tell you that if you're backing out onto a busy road, when to do and when not to do it. If you're driving a car, there is features like ABS and recently ESP that make sure that you're in control of the car while braking, while turning, and the ESP actually takes over if you're attempting to turn or take a turn at a speed that may be dangerous for the car. So it just takes over and reduces the speed to a decent level that is manageable. Yeah? And then there are several other things that will help you to avoid accidents. For example, autonomous emergency braking, where if the car finds that unwittingly you have put yourself in a situation where a car accident is imminent, then it will take control and make sure that the car stops and not allow you to put yourself in danger. So many things that need to happen. But let's say from infrastructure point of view also, it is best if we don't have multiple users on the road. So if you go to Japan, for example, you will find that the traffic rules are followed very well. The roads are also, infrastructure is also made in such a way that we don't have intersecting traffic to the extent possible. If there is, then people are very serious about how they approach an intersection, how they cross an intersection. You know, in US, for example, at every intersection, you will have a sign that just says stop, and everyone respects it. People who approach the intersection will stop for 5 seconds before attempting to cross the intersection. There's so many things that can and need to happen, and I'm sure it will happen in India also. So we as a country are growing, and let's say people who can afford cars are also growing at a very rapid pace. Along with this, when education keeps pace, I'm sure we can handle this very well as a country. Thank you, Hormazd.
Yeah, Mohan, just staying with you, you raised an interesting point and said that the level of awareness is so poor that people think that if a body part crumples, it's unsafe. Where clearly you need that progressive deceleration. It's actually a life-saving design factor, which been the crumple zones are meant to crumple progressively. But at the same time, just to be honest, you feel that once you have a 5-star rated car, the users find that they're almost invincible, that nothing can happen to them. Do you think it works that way as well? Because we all have tom-tommed the safety of the car to a good extent, and the fact that you all are really designing cars to a very, very high level of safety standards, especially in crash worthiness. But do you think that this is the case, and really, the level of awareness is so low that there are kind of multiple misconceptions that emanate out of this?
Sure. So take just a few cases. Let's say all of us buy cars, and all of us like to believe that we are safe. And then we also travel with children. For children to travel in a car, it's essential that one puts in child seats. And this is where you as our partners in the business can help create a lot of awareness. So anytime someone buys a car from you, kindly advise them, if possible, force them to buy child safety seats. So there is an anchorage provided in every of our cars. But unless a child is made to sit in the safety seat and is well, harnessed in, you're putting the child in extreme danger. I mean, you may feel that you're safe, but your child absolutely isn't safe at all. So there's small things that can start. As our dealer partners, it's also important that if you can, in your premises, have several displays that talk about safety, about safe driving practices, about things, features in the car that help for safety, but also help to create awareness around how to make sure that those features work for you whenever you are in a bad situation. So several things that can be done by both of us together. And we'd like to also make sure that we are working with you to make all these things possible. Yeah.
Mohan, very interesting you said that, make sure that parents use child seats. I think that's a very highly evolved sense of safety, which is purely lacking, because I think, forget that, you have kids sitting on their parents' laps while they're driving, sticking their heads out of the sunroof, which is a very common sight. So I think we are really far removed from coming to this evolved level of safety awareness. And just want to broaden the discussion and bring in our other panelists, not directly related to the core manufacturer product industry. And, Mr. Dayal, I'd just like to, get your sense on, you've heard the panelists talk, and clearly road safety awareness is abysmally low over here. I mean, you also must have seen sites. It's very common to have a family on a motorbike, five people on a bike, children with their heads out of the sunroof, leaning out of the windows, just doing everything that, if there is even the slightest accident, that kind of behavior could prove fatal. So, just want to get your overview on, the whole concept of road safety, how it's lacking, and, at a basic level, what can be done. Clearly, it is to do with more awareness and education.
No, sure. Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. And I think we are the smallest or the youngest company on this panel, so I'll just take half a minute to introduce ourselves, because it has a perspective to the conversation and to the discussion we are having on this panel today. So SK Finance finances used vehicles in rural and semi-urban India. We are not an urban company, we are not a metro company. We are actually financing buyers for used vehicles in very small towns. A lot of our customers are first-time users. A lot of our customers are new to credit. A lot of our customers use these vehicles for small logistics purposes. And to your first point, Saurabh, when you mentioned about just the fatalities on the road, a large number of those are actually happening in states and smaller roads. Not everything is happening in big cities or on highways. And whereas we speak of rules and education in the bigger towns, a large part of really the problem is in the states and in smaller towns and villages. And I think that's where SK Finance plays a role. We finance very small clients for their vehicle needs, whether it's a two-wheeler or a car or a utility vehicle or a used truck, all for economic reasons. And hence, safety of our customer, which in this case is the borrower, safety of their vehicle is extremely important in the business we are in, because it's a business which drives economics. If there is an accident, the vehicle gets damaged. If our borrower has an accident, it impairs the whole finance equation. So we actually, it's as an ingrained part of what we do, we undertake a lot of work, which you mentioned, for education and awareness on road safety. We educate our customers. We actually distribute helmets to areas where we see two-wheeler population. We first teach them, make them aware, and distribute helmets. We do the same when we go to schools, where we go through NGOs and we educate students. We educate the teachers to teach the students. And these are in smaller towns and in smaller villages. We actually have a very unique concept of a Yatayat Rath, where we have like a mobile van which goes into smaller towns and villages with banners, with pamphlets, with kind of catchy slogans, attracting people to educate them on why road safety is so important. And I wanted to get this whole perspective because a lot of India lives in rural towns. A large part of the India lives in semi-urban areas. And activities we do that have to be on the ground. We also help, like you mentioned, traffic infrastructure. We help put up booths, we help put up barricades. These are places and roads where there are no cameras, where there are no speed limits, where there is very poor enforcement. The enforcement is manual, the enforcement is through physical barricades. So that's what we help to do. So apart from being just financiers, we believe it is our duty and responsibility to just get our customers to be safe and to learn about safety. I wanted to get a very different dimension to this conversation also, from a financing point of view. Whereas we have very large manufacturers here who are speaking of the incredible safety features and functionalities they put in, and we are trying to educate our customers. A lot of the buyers of the vehicles actually are constrained by affordability, right? They may not want to pay for those features. They may not opt for those features. And we are at a very nascent stage of saying, what is it that our customers can afford? Which brings us back to the financing part of it. Do we actually incentivize the buyers of vehicles for buying safer vehicles? Do we give a lower interest rates if they buy a better, safe vehicle? Do we encourage them or give cheaper finance to buy safety equipment? Do we extend the loan to value and make it bigger? Do we extend duration because we believe that it's going to extend the life of the vehicle? Now, as we move towards having a comprehensive safety system in the country, it's equally important that we start to combine and get this ecosystem to work together. How does this work? Even for the lenders, a safe vehicle is a better asset to have, right? You're improving, you're reducing accidents, you're reducing the insurance, you're increasing the life and the resale value. So you actually have a good asset under you. So it's a lot of value. I think a role which technology plays and can play, and we see some of the newer vehicles have that in what they have in their vehicles, is telematics. right? Your ability to actually see how a person is driving or crossing, their behavior. Just putting absolutely top-class technology into the systems on advanced driver assistance systems, where you can now look at the behavior of the driver. But then more importantly, are we in a position to then say, you've been a good driver, hence your insurance is lower. You've been a good driver, you have a better vehicle, so you should get a discount on the next vehicle. You've been a good buyer, hence X, Y, Z. Now, all of this is the incentive and motivation ecosystem, which has to work together. So I think it's up to us to see how we bring all of this together. It's not just financing a vehicle, it's more of how do you incentivize it. Lastly, before I end, you made the point, and we started with the two-wheeler example. We all encourage quick commerce. And all of us who step out of this hotel see how people who are delivering quick commerce on two-wheelers behave, how they drive, and I don't want to take names, but it's we who encourage it. They are incentivized to reach somewhere very fast. They are incentivized to drive on the wrong side of the road so that they can deliver. So I think as a society, there are many things we need to look at, and it's not just the manufacturer or the financer or the dealers, it's what we are paying for. And the quick commerce companies are worth billions of dollars, but they're driving wrong. Not necessarily, but we can all see it.
Thanks, Mr. Dayal. There are some very interesting points, and as you rightly said, we are happy to penalize the bad drivers, but the good drivers rarely get rewarded, and that also needs to be done. And even on a good point raised also on financing, as let's say financing safer cars, incentivized or not, which I'd like to turn to Sumit. But just before that, I think on telematics, I think it's a really important tool to kind of monitor, driver behavior. I think it's quite prevalent, especially in commercial vehicle segment. So, Mr. Sachdeva, I'd just like to get your views, especially on the commercial side, and even more quickly on you also, on the truck side. So, I think commercial vehicles, when the accidents happen, they are quite extreme, just by the sheer size, weight of the vehicles. So I think, a very, very critical sector and a key role the commercial vehicle sector has to play in road safety to bring down fatalities. Telematics, I think, is one area which I'm sure can be, really be leveraged. And as Mr. Dayal said, even rewarding really good drivers, the way they drive, you can just absolutely monitor their driving pattern. Of course, speeding is just one angle, but the way they brake, they accelerate, all that sort of thing. So just like your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, thank you, FADA, for inviting me for this conference. And this is the first time I've been here in this conference from Volvo Eicher Commercial Vehicle Limited, which is a joint venture between Volvo and Eicher, and we manufacture truck, buses, and engines. So this is a brief introduction, and now coming to the what is happening in commercial vehicle industry in terms of safety as compared to two-wheelers and passenger car. And as we do the analysis, we find that the reason for the accidents or the road safety fatalities are different in two-wheeler, passenger car, and commercial vehicle. In two-wheeler, 44% of the fatalities in India are happening in the two-wheeler, and these fatalities are largely because of loss of balance and vehicle skidding. Whereas in passenger vehicle, it is the overspeeding is the major contributor for the fatalities. And in commercial vehicle, reason is different. It is the overwork of the driver. He is taking the extended hour, and that is leading to the vehicle accident. And that's what was mentioned by my panel colleague also, that lot of work we need to do on the driver safety and monitoring system. Lot of good work has been done on the safety in the commercial vehicle, and a lot of new standards have come in thanks to Mr. Gadkari, which have come into the vehicle, and because of that now vehicles are becoming much safer as compared to earlier times. But other reasons are also there from the environment perspective, which are leading to more accident. As again my co-panelist had told that thing, like e-commerce. Today, they are demanding that vehicle from Delhi to Mumbai should reach within 72 hours. When I started my career about 30 years back, at that time it was 15 days between Delhi to Mumbai and back. Today it is 72 hours. So 72-hour vehicle had to be driven from Delhi, going to Mumbai, unload, come back. And with that type of speed, that type of pressures, definitely the way industry is evolving, the way demands are coming in, this is also leading to the accidents. And higher engine power, progressively from Euro 1, Euro 2, Euro 3, Euro 4, Euro 6, progressively we have seen that engine powers are going up, road infra is improving, but again, issue is the driver training. And he is the major contributor, and driver shortage is there, and high-speed operation is there, but that gentleman is not getting the adequate rest. He is not properly trained. He is not knowing how to use the safety feature. Lot of features like front collision norms have come in. It's ABS has come in. It is adaptive cruise control has come in. It is now fire alarm systems are there. Lot of systems have come into the vehicle, and many more will come in future also, but still we are not able to cope up with the safety of the vehicle, safety of the cargo, and safety of the drivers. And the question was that a telematics aspect. Fortunately, VCV was the first industry in India which offered the 100% connected vehicle with telematics in 2021. And telematics has a huge role to play, not only for the uptime, but also in terms of controlling the driver behavior. And today, based on the vehicle deceleration, based on the braking, we are able to map the data, and many times when we go to the fleet owner and confront him with the data, we are able to tell him that which of the drivers is using the brakes maximum, accelerating the vehicle maximum, which is leading to the rash behavior and which is leading to the accidents. And that's why the need for training come, and as my co-panelist told that thing, that training is an extremely important element, and a lot of work is done by the individual organization, NGO, as well as SIAM also. They also have a safe as one of the initiatives that they are running, making sure that awareness of safety is provided. So coming to telematics, what are the further potentials where the telematics can help? Today, artificial intelligence and IoT, that's what is going to now control the accident going forward. And this has got the 4 benefits which are going to come. Number one is, if I am having the vehicle to infrastructure linkage because of telematics, vehicle is going, and at some point it identifies that this is a area where the maximum accident happen at that coordinate, and the traffic also is highest there. That helps us to identify which is the riskiest area on the road, which is leading to more accident. And I am very happy to know that thing, and also what Mr. Gadkari also have shared, that many roads, they are improving, which are leading to the accidents because of the alignment error or because of some other issues in the design of the highways. That is being addressed through the AI, which the data is fed by the telematics system. Second is riskiest driver is also identified. Third is the traffic optimization is also being done. In traffic optimization, it is being ensured that how the signaling time is done so that the traffic optimization is there. Congestions are not there. That is also leading to the betterment of the traffic, and the safety is getting improved. And fourth is, based on all the actions, efficacy of all the signaling, efficacy of all the traffic management system, that is also being checked by the artificial data management. And that all is possible through the telematics, and that all is possible from the vehicle to infrastructure linkage and connectivity, which we are able to provide that thing. And with that, things are going to become better. The way as today people are conscious, we see that OEMs are conscious as well as government conscious, policy support is also very high. With that, things are going to become better in future. But today, there are challenges which we are contending with. That's what is my view on the commercial vehicle safety perspective and use of the connectivity in the vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachdeva. I think, quite clear, as you said, telematics is playing a huge role. Driver training, very important. But, just one point I wanted to raise, especially with commercial vehicles. driver fitness and health as well. It's a difficult job. Air-conditioned cabins, not everyone offers. It's quite tiring, a lot of fatigue. Even a simple thing like regular medical checkups. One thing that I really marvel at, I've never seen a truck driver with spectacles. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't need them, but, just saying something like that, is their eyesight 100%, especially at the night? So, just looking at these factors, do you think this is also absolutely critical? Because you can have a good driver, but, under certain conditions, long hours, our ambient temperatures can be very high. It is very, very tiring, and I think that's really what sometimes slows down the reaction time, and especially in commercial vehicles, big trucks, that can lead to serious accidents. So, just on the topic of just driver fitness, I don't know if there's enough focus on that.
Well, absolutely right. I think you have touched the right points, and here I would like to say that driver issue today, sir, two major issues are there in the commercial vehicle, which are beyond regulation. One is that the use of the cowl. Today, we give the company-built cabins, most of the platform, but on the haulage segment, currently, drivers, they make their own cabin, which is made of wood as well as steel, and they are not safety compliant, unfortunately. And why they do it? They feel that wood is more insulated, so he doesn't have to provide AC. And in the summer and the heat, those cowl which are made of wood as well as steel, they help to mitigate the weather harshness. But good thing is, from mid of this year, AC is becoming mandatory in all the commercial vehicles. And all the N2 category of vehicle from 1st June will be provided with air conditioner. That will be big relief, and what your concerns are there, that concern is going to be addressed in that thing. And so people will, instead of going for an unsafe cowl made on the unorganized segment, companies like Tata, Leyland, we will be able to supply the fully built cabin, which we started about 30 years back. So that's one issue on the safety will be taken care of that. Second aspect is the driver fitness. For that, before I come to the driver fitness, I feel that use of DSMS, driver state monitoring system, whenever driver is fatigued, his responses, they are assessed by the sensors which we are providing on the windscreen, and that data is sent through telematics to the fleet owner also, and through the control tower, it is available to us also for 24/7. That way, we are able to go into remind, caution the driver through alarm system that you use this, please be conscious, take rest, but don't meet with an accident. Now, third element, this is DSMS, we are going to make mandatory in VCV, and from the 1st June, along with air conditioner, 100% of vehicle will be provided with the DSMS system. Third thing, which you said very, very relevant, that how we are ensuring that drivers are fit. Unfortunately, in India, the Vigo started this in a big way. And they wanted to ensure that driver life, driver safety, driver comfort is taken care of that thing. But unfortunately, their momentum has got slowed down due to various environmental reasons today. But as a OEM, I think it is our responsibility, and we started also in a small way. I will not boast that we are on the big way in this thing, but a small way we have started that thing for the select product platforms. We are ensuring that one is the insurance is done for the driver. Second is we subject the drivers to the medical test, where the eye is the number one. Eye health is the number one reason which we look at that thing and try to take care of that aspect also. But this initiative we have just started, and I fully agree with you. This is the one parameter through CSR and other initiative we have to ensure and spend some investment money so that we take care of the driver health, we take care of his responses, we provide him the healthy environment in the cabin. All the three things put together will lead to the accident reduction. And that's what we are looking at that. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I mean, absolutely. I think, as you rightly said, there are just multiple factors, and I think drowsiness monitoring systems will go a long way. I think slowly technology is playing its role, but it seems, if we don't have the basics, even that will be limited and it'll never catch up and kind of come to a point where we can start seeing a reduction in fatalities. Mohan, just very quickly, because I've got other panelists who haven't spoken yet, just quickly on telematics. the role of telematics, and technology in accident mitigation.
So with telematics, actually, we have also started providing in our cars also. And with telematics, we are able to see all kind of behavioral patterns that one may not imagine. Not just start stops, but the kind of acceleration people do or the kind of braking behavior people have. So it's all data that is getting collected with us, and that is helping us to make sure that vehicles become better and better. So this is something that we look forward to. And there are very many things that can also be done with telematics, including things like traffic congestion, or it's something that the government can also use from us in terms of how, let's say, traffic is behaving in a particular city at a particular hour. So this is something like what Google does with all the maps, only at a much more detailed level. So we are able to use it to make sure that cars become more efficient at fuel efficiency, and so many other things that can go along with this data. Thank you.
Thanks, Mohan. Sumit, just turning to you and, just jumping back to what Mr. Dayal had said, very interesting concept of financing, incentivizing, let's say the purchase of safer cars through finance. I mean, your thoughts on that? Yeah.
Thanks, Hormazd. So I have a car which has lane watch camera. It has collision warning system. The first thing I do when I sit in the car is turn it off. You can have all the technology in the world, but if the environment or the ecosystem around you doesn't allow you to use it, it's of no use. And unfortunately, we are a large population. We have a certain mindset. You can change the mindset of the younger generation, but a lot of us who drive on the road have seen over the years, have developed mindset over the years. There are complexities of e-commerce, etc. So how do you solve this? I think use of technology is going to be very critical in doing it. And we'll have to follow a carrot and stick approach. And I'll give you an example. When the metro stations in Delhi were launched, so all the passengers, the same set of passengers would go out of the metro station and spit. But if they were on the station, they wouldn't spit because there was an instant fine. Unfortunately, in the Indian psyche, that works well. So the metro station initially were very clean. I don't know the status now, but it worked well. Today, if we look at in my hometown now, Mumbai, traffic constables have a simple app. So if you jump a signal, they'll just stop you and they'll just scan your number plate and they'll know your history that so many fines are outstanding and they won't let you go unless you pay the fine. It drives behavior. Unfortunately, that's the only way, but it drives behavior. Or if you get a challan, even jumping a red light, etc., it reaches your... If you download that app, it reaches you immediately. So I think the use of technology is critical. And it has to be over-encompassing. For example, RTOs, we all know how they work. 20 years ago, passport office was like that. But I think a simple solution, an initiative by the government to give a contract to one of the reputed Indian software companies, and it's become a breeze now. It's so well organized, everything works like clockwork precision. And I remember going for a passport 20 years ago, it was horrible. Today, it's a pleasure. Everything just moves seamlessly. So even in the RTO, we should be having all RTOs in the country linked to each other. There should be a standardized system test which should be automated before you, which should be recorded and it should be evidenced before you issue a license. We have a policy where all fines are treated as one. I mean, if I overspeed, whether I'm 10 kilometers over the speed limit or 100 kilometers over the speed limit, the fine is the same. We have to follow the graded system that's done abroad and link it to and debit have a point system on your license, link it to Aadhaar so that you can keep debiting, and after a certain level, you just take the license away or suspend it for 6 months and the person can't drive. Unfortunately, that's what we as a nation, I think, are more accustomed to being penalized and then fall into the line. there is a lot more technology available. Colleagues talked about connected technology, driver behavior, all that. I mean, today, if you take a trip, you can come back on the app and see how many times you braked, how many times did you accelerate, and what was your driving score, etc. All that is available. The mindsets really have to change. And that's where I think the carrot and stick will play the role, more the stick rather than the carrot. I think somewhere involving it as a whole ecosystem, including the government, private sector, will work well. The kind of revolution we've seen on the highways, I don't think we've seen it in the intercity, especially in the city where I live, Bombay. The traffic just keeps multiplying. The roads are the same as they were 20 years ago. Today, the vehicle population plying on them is 10 times more. So somewhere and we can do it, right? We've seen how the highways have been developed. Mumbai to Bombay, driving in 12 hours should be a reality soon. So all that will, wherever we put our mind and might, I think it comes together. We take the example of China. They monitor everyone so closely that there's a challenge that if they can find anyone within half an hour. It's all connected technology all across the country. So using technology for a large population, a diverse population like us, certainly will help solve these. And of course, there are some challenges even at when you're giving delivering the vehicle to be able to see who the person can drive. The tests are available. And simple information like a lot of deaths happen because of tire bursts. Filling nitrogen is the easiest thing. You fill nitrogen, the burst will not happen. So it's just a lot more information, some amount of carrot, but a lot of stick. Unfortunately, that's what we will require. But I think we can do it if all of us put together our mind along with government policy initiatives. Things can fall in place. Thanks.
Thanks, Sumit. Yeah, as you rightly said, carrot and stick approach, but I think, I think it really goes down finally to just coming from within, which I think is really the core of the issue. Just we, as a nation, as a culture, just don't have that inherent safety awareness in us. And I think I'd just like to turn to Mr. Dhimar. I think you are a person who's, really at the core of understanding what is happening, because clearly I'm sure it'd be interesting to understand from you, like, what are the trends you are seeing? Because clearly, when there are claims, total losses, obviously a lot of fatalities, I would imagine it's going up dramatically, and perhaps even given, even from a total loss point of view, which would give you an idea of the severity of the accident. Are these figures going up? I mean, is it reaching an alarming proportion? What is your sense of, from your data showing on the accidents?
Yeah. So, So basically, we are also seeing increasing trends in losses. So when from an insurance perspective, we see two different kind of losses. One is a loss to the vehicle, and another is the loss of life, which is happening. Unfortunately, with the improvement in road infrastructure, both have taken a big hit in terms of losses being scaled up. The other unfortunate part is the country is very price sensitive. So all of a sudden, you can't increase premiums because the economics will not work for the customer who's using that vehicle. So we are seeing a lot of increasing trends in own damage. We are seeing claims on third party also. But I'm basically positive that, there are a lot of changes happening. We have seen last 2 years, basically, all the cars have now come up with 5-star ratings, and you have ADAS and a lot of things. Probably another 2-3 new solutions will come where just hypothetically you cut off the phone when you are driving. Now that can work only in combination with the telecommunication companies. So you don't give an option to driver to take that phone. Because we also see in a lot of countries, phone is also a major disruptor and causing accident. So with improvement in technology, from an insurance side, it is also helping us. Now we get data on challans being issued by law enforcement agencies. We have a lot of data at industry level being gathered that is being used We also have now pilot products using telematics, giving lower premium to customers, who drive safe. There are new products available now. Let's say somebody's bought a car but does not drive daily. Then he has a small product where he can buy a small kilometer size product. So let's say I'm going to drive only 1,000 kilometers. So the product innovation is also happening in the insurance industry. The problem for us is the good drivers, we try and keep them happy by reducing premiums. The other segment, we are not able to increase the premium because then he goes away. So how do you then create that balance is the struggle we continuously keep doing it. But with all these changes, all data which is available to OEMs or financiers or everywhere, I'm hopeful that, in the coming days, people will there will be an improvement. But the other part, which is the human error in the accident involved, there's a lot of effort required. Because then it is solely on the individual how he wants to drive that vehicle. I mean, nobody stops me from driving on the other wrong side of the lane. And it's difficult. It will take time, in my view, to come to that situation where a culture is built. We don't have habit of putting seat belts. We know Cyrus Mistry case, very classic example. So, I mean, educated people also don't use seat belts at the rear side. Now, that's something which will come over a period of time. I don't think we have reached there yet. But it starts from schooling. We should start training the kids. Then that culture will get built in. Plus, law enforcement, carrot and stick will have to work. And that's the biggest problem because in Tier 3, Tier 4 cities, where SK Finance is saying, there is no law enforcement. How do you train them? It's a tough task.
Right, and there's a very good point on using the phone while driving, but overall driver distraction has become a major issue. I mean, it's even there's so much in the car to play around with. Your eyes are off the road for a lot of the time. I mean, even OEMs are now, I'll be honest, guilty of giving touch screens with so much features in them. There's more scope for driver distraction. Is there any way your data can monitor what was the cause of the accident? I mean, do you get into that level, or is that something which, tough to drill
because,
down to?
See, we have very limited time to get the car or a vehicle repaired and pass it out. You will need sophisticated scientific techniques to be, to be used to find out what exactly caused that. We generally don't get that time when the car is met with an accident. Right. So it's tough. I mean, we don't get to capture that.
Right. Just one last point, and I don't think we have much time, so I'm just going to give this last one to Ranjivjit. Basically on road infrastructure, because I think it impacts two-wheeler riders the most. Potholes, unmarked speed breakers, bad road design. Rider can be just cruising at even just 40, 50 kilometers an hour, no fault of his own. The road catches him out, especially when it's wet, low grip surfaces. It's an absolute, let's say, war zone out over there. So, road infrastructure, I mean, we don't talk about it too much, but really increasingly we found that even newer highways that are built, they're not always perfectly built. They can be uneven, they can be bumpy, that sort of thing. So, is this really a big concern as well? Obviously it is, but I don't know what can be done on this because road infrastructure, at one level it's improving, but you've got other roads which are very, very hazardous.
Thank you, Ahmed, for that question. It's really an important point that while road infrastructure overall is improving, but one has always experienced this when you go to some other countries and there's a sort of a divider that's coming up. Probably from half a kilometer before, there are blinkers and there are warnings and there are those kind of things that happen. Here, the monsoons, the rains, the potholes that develop, etc. There are things which are controllable. There are things which are not controllable. What are the things that we should really be focusing on? We should be focusing on rider enablement. So education was one big part, but I understand that it's a big thing. On our part, what are we doing? Lighting is a very important part. So now we have, this is an important thing that, we talked about that affordability was another thing that was talked about. So the insight that I want to share with all of you is, in a few models, we have like one model which is at the top one, which has ABS. Another one does not have that level there. Another model of product that we have, corner bending lights. So you can see the blind spots. The lower variant you don't have. What do customers actually take? They take the higher model. Despite the fact that it's more expensive, thanks to the retail financing that's happening, they are prioritizing safety. That for sure is a change that's happening. Why is this important for this question that you've raised? Because it helps you see what lies beyond. So whether it's the lighting, or if you're stuck in a situation, then the panic alert, the winkers, all of that come into play. So there is that amount of education that we as an industry can do for our customers to enable them. Yes, the infrastructure needs to improve, but that we know that whatever the agencies, the government, whatever, are doing, they are doing that. But you cannot absolve the rider and ourselves from the responsibility of rising above the dangers that lie ahead. And we have to take that as our task. And I think FADA has a very, very big responsibility. Actually, it sets a purpose to FADA to improve the safety levels. And if we can see a diminishing in the fatalities, I think that would be a big win for this country. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we've running out of time. I don't think we will take another question, but I think just want to wrap this up by saying, it's a very, very complex topic. So many facets to road safety, right from the vehicles, the technology, the driver training, our cultural kind of view of what we think safety is. I think it's not going to be an easy task. I've spoken in several forums on this. Generally, we can see the interest in road safety in the audience, Ranjivjit, as you said. It's something we just don't take seriously enough. But I think it's something we can't give up on. I think all stakeholders have to really do their bit to kind of see that, we try and reduce the number of road deaths. It's just an absolute tragedy when we see these accidents. And I don't know about you all, but I think all of us know someone who's been killed in a road accident. I mean, not just one, maybe several. So, you go to, let's say, UK or Europe, and I ask them the same question, and sometimes they think and they don't know anyone. But, that's how serious it is. It is so close to home that all of us have some friend, and maybe sadly some people, a loved one, who've lost their life on the road. So I think it just can't be overstated enough that I think all of us have to do our bit. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your thoughts on this. Some really interesting insights have come out of this. And yes, thanks very much. And thanks, FADA, for the opportunity to...
Just one small point.
Sure, go ahead.
The way we issue the driving license has to change.
Yeah, that is the root cause.
Yeah, because we need people who know how to drive on the road. In foreign countries, when a driving license is issued, it's a moment to rejoice. So we have to be impartial in that, and we should not, issue driving license only for fun.
No, you're absolutely right, because I think, people know how to drive, but they just don't know basic rules. I mean, driving with hazard lights on in the rain. I mean, people think it's the right thing to do, but actually it's not, because you're supposed to use that when you're stationary in the event of an emergency. So it would mislead people into thinking that's a stationary car when actually it's not, if it's moving. And, even something like right-of-way, no one really knows who has the right-of-way in a roundabout. It's the person in the roundabout. Over here, it's a free-for-all. So, just the absolute basics. Right-of-way, I think, is one of the core issues which I think no one knows when they start to drive. So, very good point. We've ended this on. So,
yeah, like here it is like my way or highway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, thank you very much. And again, thanks, FADA, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Me? Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Sorabjee. Thank you to all the members in the panel for their valuable contributions towards this topic. We would like to felicitate all the panelists. And for that, can I please request Mr. Nikunj Sanghi, past President FADA, and Mr. Prakash Rao, past President FADA, to please come up on the stage. And can we first have the memento for Mr. Diego Graffi? Can you please bring it up on the stage? Sir, if I can request you to move to the center of the stage, we'll have better pictures there. Thank you, Mr. Graffi. Next, can we please have the memento for Mr. Mohan Savarkar? For Mr. Mohan Savarkar, please. After this, can we please invite Mr. Munish Dayal to kindly take the memento. Next, please bring the memento for Mr. Rajinder Singh Sachdeva. Thank you, sir. For Mr. Rajinder Singh Sachdeva now. Please bring the memento for Mr. Ranjivjit Singh. Next, can you please bring the memento for Mr. Sumit Bali? Thank you, gentlemen. We are presenting the token of appreciation to Mr. Sumit Bali now, and after that for Mr. Tushar Dhimar. Next, please bring the memento for Mr. Ashish Pande. Thank you, Mr. Pande. And we would also like to extend a token of appreciation for the moderator of the session, Mr. Hormazd Sorabjee. Thank you, sir. After this, gentlemen, I'm going to request all of you to please come together for a group photograph. Can we please have a round of applause for our anchor panel one, just wrapping up. Yeah, we are all getting ready for a group photograph now with all the panelists, the moderator, and our other dignitaries, past presidents of the FADA, Mr. Nikunj Sanghi and Mr. Prakash Rao. Thank you so much, everyone.